Okay, the reason I'm making this video is because I have the great privilege of, as a consultant, of being in the room with many senior leadership teams. And we see those that are more successful than others. And I've codified it and put it into these 5 realities that they have accepted and adapted to, that has made the successful ones scale their businesses leveraging generative AI. The second reason I'm making this video is because I keep seeing on LinkedIn these posts where they're offering growth hacks or infographics or some kind of special prompt that will make you rich and famous. They're completely missing the point. To me, generative AI is not like anything that's happened before, and it is a tidal wave of change. I've never said this about any other technology. You can check back through my YouTube history. I'm not a technologist. I help businesses transform and become more relevant and win and perform better. But this one can't be overlooked. This is the cognitive replacement where all other technologies has been a functional aid. Moving from service to the cloud has been a functional aid. Putting in an ERP system, a functional aid, helping you organize. This is physically a job dissolver. And whilst it's not a pleasant thing to say, and I get no gratitude from saying it, this is going to radically change the roles and functions of everybody in every business. The leaders who grasp this reality and try to ride this can actually offer those displaced a much better, secure future, and also they will have a much better business. Let me show you my 5 realities that I think leaders must grasp. Here's reality number 1. You have to take time out on this one. You have to sit down and understand the business capabilities of generative AI. It's not going to just be by working through a puzzle and you will come up with the solution. So I'm not talking about leaders understanding the technical wherewithal, and because the word AI is instantly associated with technology, it's the business capabilities. If you can spare the time, it will be the best invested time that you can have for investing in the future of your organization. I've tried to codify the education path into 5 quick steps. We're going to start off with the tinkerer. This is my complaint about the LinkedIn posts. They're all about tinkering. This is where you just use generative AI to write better documents. You roll it out in an organization, they get Copilot, but nobody's given any instruction as to why or what to do with it. You can leave it up to the individuals, and the individuals will just augment what they're currently doing. Then you get the number 2, which is the experimenter. Now, the experimenter is using generative AI to start to understand how they can modify and change structures within their organization. They're experimenting with AI agents. And the crazy thing is, to make an AI agent that can remove 3 roles or 4 functions in a business can be a 1-hour job. So, I mean, it's not difficult to do this anymore. It's incredibly easy. But you have to understand that it's part of the process that you're going to go through in the business if you're going to transform and create a better place for all to work in. And that then leads us to the strategizer. The strategizer understands that they need to remove cost through hyper-automation in the back end of their business, but also they need to create competitive advantage in the front end of their business. The generative AI helps in everything that we're talking about, from back-end efficiency to creating new value propositions, products, services, and innovating at the front end. That brings us to number 4, which is the innovator, and the innovators then have to be able to create that competitive advantage, that winning formula on the outside of the business. And they'll take the resources from the inside to make it happen. The architect then redesigns and restructures the business for flows rather than departments and structures. What is the flow of something through a system? And that's a different way of thinking about how you would architect an operating model inside a business. Number 2 reality is that this isn't an IT project. In fact, most digital transformations, I believe, should never have been with IT. IT were never recruited to tell a business unit that they can't have that product or service or it must be updated. They can't say we can reduce the headcount here by 50%. It's not their role. But it's a leadership role of which IT plays a part. And in my experience, IT typically deliver whatever you ask them for. The problem is what you're asking for. So when we are going to move into an AI-powered transformation, you've got to go through the education. You've got to grasp this reality that IT play its part, but the actual design of what we're going to do is not an IT project. Don't expect the current team to lead their own disruption. I mean, if you put the people in who own today's processes in charge of tomorrow's AI innovation, they're only going to augment what's currently there. They're going to be doing tinkering, and then if first they'll go to some kind of incremental change, but they'll not do some kind of radical transformation. And this is where psychological safety needs to be brought to the fore. People need to know what that future state looks for them. Is it better than the current state? Why should I move? Why should I take my job that I'm qualified for, have been doing for 20 years, and try to automate it in order to get what? What's in it for me? And the reality is, it may not be a lot in it for them or anything in it for them, but those good people that are prepared to educate themselves and to move, there is so much opportunity at creating value from the front end of the business that their skills will definitely not go unutilized. And you'll see more about that in a second. Okay, so we've mentioned strategy before, but if your strategy doesn't focus on innovation and differentiation, then to what end? Why are we doing it? Operational efficiency, yes, generative AI can bring that and you can lose headcount, but that is not going to create a winning business. The reality that leaders grasp that succeed is that they need to know what they're going to do with those people and how they're going to utilize them, what's their career pathway. And the strategy is what will determine that, because the strategy says, this is the game we're playing, this is the competitors we must beat, this is the way we're going to play this game and how we plan to win. And by the way, I don't have all the answers. The answers, I'm hoping, is what you will come up with. You, the innovators. You're the ones that will be able to experiment, to be able to create new competitive advantage for the business in line with our strategy. And so that means innovation. Innovation equals differentiation, equals competitive advantage, equals how you win. And this isn't just my rant. I mean, here's a PwC research shows that firms that integrate AI strategically, not just operationally, have higher growth rates. Here's a McKinsey study that shows that AI will disproportionately reward companies that innovate and differentiate. And that's not the new news story by any stretch. Here's Harvard Business Review. They've been saying for years something that reinforces that innovation is not operational excellence, but it is the driver of sustainable competitive advantage. You now have all of this resource who know how every inch of your business, they are able to innovate, and innovation can happen at scale. 10x improvements on innovation with generative AI. Things that would have taken weeks are now taking days or hours. You can go from concept to the creation of a brochure to engagement with customers in an hour. Value propositions created, testing hypothesis, dismissing it, using data. That can happen at such speed. The leaders who understand that the goal here is to take the resources that we've optimized and put them into some level of innovation, they're the ones that are winning. But the multiplier on all of this is if the strategy gives accurate direction. And the strategy contains unknowns. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm hoping this team can find out. It requires a new type of leader, one that is able to say, I don't know. I'm going to help you find out the answer, leveraging this technology, and we've got to do it fast. Reality number 5, competitive advantage will come from speed, not scale. The old game was always to build, scale, and defend. That's how we created the businesses we have. Then you stack around business processes to allow it to scale more easily and more efficiently, and away we went. However, with generative AI, what we're seeing is the complete remake of workflows, of flows rather than structures, of organization charts. They're flows. What does a customer need? How do we sell it? How do we make it more attractive? And then how do we build the flows to service that? And the ability to be agile and fast and nimble at that works to your advantage. So the ability to grasp that requires operational change, organizational change, structural change, job role changes. That's what will create the speed. It won't come from just building a faster, slightly faster version of what currently exists in its current organizational structure. I mean, this isn't easy. I'm saying this as if, if you just follow these steps and pour some magic pixie dust on your keyboard, all will be well. It's not easy, but the journey still has to be done. It's not optional either. Look, thanks for watching. As I mentioned, I have a consultancy firm. We work all over the world. We help leaders, managers, and decision makers understand the frameworks, understand the education of what they need, and also help them find their new pathway vision and how they're going to implement it. If you need any help, contact us through our website. Thanks for watching.